Welcome to the Music and Memories Podcast with your host, Vince Moreno.
All right, folks. You guys are hopefully joining us here for part 2 with Jim at Hodges. Last time we were here, we caught up pretty extensively with your past life, and
part 1 was amazing. It's so filled with information.
oh, it's extensive.
Yes.
No, we just thought we'd do something fun right there, folks. We hope you guys got a kick out of that little laugh. We sure did. We laughed our asses off towards it. So
Yes, we did.
So anyway, Jim Ed, man, we worked together with Craig Morgan, but we worked a bunch downtown. And for all of those of you who don't know who Jim Ed Hodges is, he's an accomplished guitar player, accomplished fiddle player. He plays a lot. We I think first played downtown Nashville on Broadway. I think together.
Was Broadway the first time I met you.
I think you actually have a funny story about that.
You
don't
were playing at Legends Corner, and I'd been in town for 2 weeks. And I was searching all the time. Every night I would go downtown and check out the bands, new to town, for the second time. And looking for bands that really appealed to me and wanted to make connections and network. I walked in and saw you perform at Legends in your show that you do that is just absolutely hilarious. You're kind of
so you're the one who thinks
world renowned for that show. And saw you play. And I knew immediately I want to play with that guy.
Well, you probably heard Fiddle and Steel, right, when you walked in. I mean, usually that's...
Yeah, you had Fiddle and Steel. You had a great guitar playing, everything.
But it was the kind of music that you sought out, that you thought, well,
it's the kind of stuff I grew up listening to, the stuff that I came to Nashville specifically to play.
Right.
And saw you, and I went, man, this guy's hilarious, but he's a very accomplished musician.
Oh, thanks, man.
And this is the type of guy that I want to know. And I remember when the song was over, I mean, you weren't on a set break or anything. You just finished a song, and I was like, hey, I want to play with you. And you were pretty much like, you didn't know who I was, turned around, looked at me, and went, yeah, okay, cool, man. And I said, no, I'm serious. I want to play with you. And it was pretty much like, well, stand in line.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I'm surprised I didn't say something really mean or something.
You know, it was something, you said something to that effect.
I'm surprised I didn't give you the old Hank Jr., I bet you do, asshole.
Yeah, right. And when you did that, I went, okay, not only is this guy a great musician, but he has that personality that appeals to me too.
Well, because, I don't just let anybody just jump up on stage and play, especially if I don't know them. So
right.
I'm sure you probably respected that in a certain
absolutely,
vein too.
But the humor of how your approach and everything was very appealing. And so I think I gave you my phone number, flipped you my phone number or something.
Yeah, probably.
And maybe a couple weeks later, we started talking.
Really?
I think you came a couple weeks later to see me and Johnny Highland. And Mike Goodman played down.
Okay.
Because you had a gig down there at the same time we did.
Or right before or after or something like that.
Or I remember at Layla's we used to take breaks at different intervals than the other bars did. So
and they start different times too.
Different times. So you guys had your 15-minute break. We're still playing. And you came down and saw me play. And that's kind of...
Oh, and then I went, there's that guy from the other night.
Yes, okay, so he can play.
Yeah.
He ain't just some
Well,
weirdo.
I didn't say that, but I was like, there's that guy.
Right, but I mean, well, that's what I would have, that's what I heard in my head. I was hoping that's what, that guy must think that I can play.
Oh, wow, now he knows I can play.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that guy from the other night.
So that started a relationship.
Oh, wow. What year was that? You said you were
2013.
Because I'm trying to remember... Oh, so I'd already been in town.
You've been in town.
A few years, yeah. Because I've been here. This Memorial Day was 9 years, I think, or 10. Anyway, so then that, okay.
Yeah, the second time I moved to Nashville was January 7th, 2013. We had a U-Haul, brought over stuff from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Is that where you were living?
That's where I was living and working at the time.
Oh, yeah, there's the... was it the Opry there? Or
Carolina Opry.
Okay.
Calvin Gilmore's famous Carolina Opry.
Okay.
And me and my friend, who was working at another theater in town, both had this idea to come to Nashville. And I said my excuse was that, well, the last time I was in Nashville, working in Nashville, was in 2005.
Okay.
It's been 8 years.
And were you playing downtown then?
No, I never played downtown.
Okay, but you were living here.
Yeah, no, I wasn't living here. I was living in St. Louis, Missouri, and driving back and forth, getting on the bus.
Oh, that's right, because you were playing another band there.
I had the Well Hungarians in St. Louis.
That's right. Okay.
But I started going to work for Blake Shelton in 2005.
Okay. See,
so I'd drive back and forth.
When you say that, though, I know that we met on the road or something prior because
could have been
because I was playing with Neil McCoy in 2005.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's where I met you first because I kind of vaguely when you told me about Legend's story, I was sitting here thinking. When you came in, I thought, I know that guy from... That's probably why I looked at you in a gaze, like, I know that guy from somewhere, but I couldn't place it, or something. So I bet we probably met at a festival or something like that.
We probably had at that time. It just never left me with a big enough impression to remember.
Well, it's funny. I was playing keys on the road with so many, like all the artists back then. So when I moved to town... Everybody thought I was just a keyboard player. Right. So when I started, when they saw me fronting and playing guitar, they're like, "Well, I thought you were a keyboard player." I'm like, "Well, I can't play more than one thing."
Right.
But anyway, that's probably why maybe you didn't recognize it from that either because you used to see me behind the keyboard. A lot of guys didn't, place the two together. But anyway,
right.
So you came up from the
so I stayed away for 8 years from Nashville and did other things.
Yeah. Now, did you ever feel like, oh man, that's the move I need to make, to Nashville? Did you ever feel that way?
Absolutely.
You did?
Since I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah, but I just never did it.
Well, it's a big step, and there's a lot of when you're younger, it's scary, because if you ever come and visit here, you go, holy crap, that guy right there that's playing down here on the street for tips is smoking me right now. I don't even know half the stuff he's playing. Oh, absolutely. You know what I mean? The talent is just mind-boggling.
Absolutely. That and many other facets.
Yeah.
The fact that you don't have family here.
Yep.
You don't know anybody, and you're starting from complete scratch.
Yeah.
And you're uncertain about tomorrow if you're even going to be able to get a gig.
Exactly.
I mean, when I moved back the second time in 2013, I worked for free for about 2 months.
Wow.
And I remember the Gig Finder was brand new at that time.
Oh, gosh.
I know. Well, yeah. Yeah.
We'll bleep that out.
That's a whole nother story. But that was brand new. And the big argument at that time was, I can't believe all these out-of-towners coming into town and playing for free. They're making it hard for me to make money if they sit in for free.
Right.
Well, my approach was, I didn't know anybody.
Yeah. You have to meet people that way.
I had to meet people that way.
That's how you network. Yeah.
I had to show my worth. And if I hopefully convince them that I have some value that I can add.
Right.
And that's how I did it for 2 months. And,
wow. You must have had some money saved up then.
I did, but there was a period where the money was starting to drizzle down.
Yeah.
That I made a phone call to a friend and I says, man, I don't know how long I got maybe another month.
Right.
Before I've got to figure out what I'm
figure something out.
If I don't start getting calls for money.
Yeah.
I was getting calls. I did it free so much. I was getting calls for, hey man, can you come sit in with us?
Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword, and it's funny that you bring that up because if you charge a low rate, people think that's what you always charge. You'll never get that full rate that it's like, well, I was just giving you a deal the first time, or whatever, and it's the same way with booking bands. I mean, it's ouch. Yeah. I mean, you get stuck, you get kind of categorized into that. So
that's easy.
What got you over that hump?
Well, I made a phone call to a good friend of mine, that Scott Collier. Mm-hmm. Scott Collier is one of the first people I started playing music with here in Nashville. He was one of the few people that I knew.
Okay.
And he gave me some words of encouragement. He says, man, you're going to do good. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Don't get discouraged. There's people that have been here 5-10 years that are making next to nothing and have never had...
Or still never got over that.
Still never got over a hump that they were hoping that they would have got over.
Sure.
And... he named a few of them, and I thought, man, these guys are pretty good musicians. They've been here for 10 years and they've never got a gig. Oh man, I don't know if this is going to work out.
You don't know if that was words of encouragement or not.
Yeah, at first it was encouraging, and then it was like, no, this ain't so encouraging.
Yeah.
And so he started calling me. He says, listen, I got a gig this weekend, Friday or Saturday. Why don't you come down and play? I'll pay you. Went down there and got paid and played, and that's started getting more calls off of that. Yeah. And pretty soon, I was getting phone calls to go to work for Craig Morgan.
Yeah.
And that happened 3 months in the town. That was my third month in the town. I got a phone call for that.
Now, was that because you knew one of the guys in the band, right?
Well, my roommate grew up with the leader of Craig's band.
Right. Mike, right?
No, at that time it was Travis Newman. Mike wasn't in the band yet. Mike was in the band before.
Right, yeah, as
left
drums.
to go sing for Doral Lawson.
Yeah.
Okay. So at that time, he hadn't come back yet.
Okay.
Mike came back in.
Oh, really? That was in that?
Yeah,
13?
he came back at the very end of 2013.
Oh, wow, okay.
Into the band.
Now, I knew he was gone because when I was out with Neil, we did a bunch of shows with Craig, and Mikey was playing drums, so.
Yeah, that was before, early on.
I'll be dang, okay.
And so my roommate...
Because he's from South Carolina, too, right?
He's from Myrtle Beach, yeah.
That's why I was thinking it was
But
him.
I never knew him. I never knew
That's
Mike.
crazy.
Yeah, I never did know him. There's, Craig at that time had half of his band from Myrtle Beach, and I didn't know any of them.
Oh my gosh!
Because they had left Myrtle Beach and came to Nashville when I was leaving St. Louis to go to Myrtle Beach.
You guys are passing each other.
Yeah, so
ended up on the same bus.
I think we all heard of each other, but we'd never known each other.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So my roommate, who ended up getting a gig with Kelly Pickler, becoming her lead guitar player, or she had 2 lead guitar players, so he's one of them.
Okay.
He knew Travis really well, and he said, "Hey, Travis, I want to bring over Jim Ed and introduce. I've talked about him. I want to introduce him to you and have and maybe there's a relationship there that can happen."
Sure, yeah.
Because he was telling Drew that we're looking for a fiddle player.
Oh, okay.
And Drew says, "Well, man, Jim Ed, he's my roommate. He plays fiddle."
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I never really heard of him or anything. You know,
Yeah.
So that whole thing,
Yeah.
So
sure. I mean, just. Like you walking in the ledge and saying, "Hey, I want to play with you." I'm going,
it was the same thing.
I never heard you, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, exact same thing.
I still don't know quite about you, but
right.
I'm not too sure about you.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, feelings mutual.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll edit that
out. So I met him, and we played together, just messing around at his house with the fiddle and his acoustic guitar. Went home, thought nothing of it. A couple days later, he calls me. He goes, "We're looking for a fiddle player, and I like the way you play. You interested in auditioning?" And absolutely.
Well, yeah. That's what I moved to town for.
Yeah. So now we have 300,000 fiddle players you're going to audition against. So you better know your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I showed up to the audition and
nailed it.
Well, I don't know if I nailed it, but I knew I had the gig when they all stopped playing and they says, "Hey, let's take you to lunch."
Oh, yeah?
Because I know that they don't do that to everybody that auditions.
That doesn't happen.
So we went to lunch, and I had it in the back of my head, these guys probably like me. I think they liked what they heard.
Yeah.
So I was getting excited, but holding it back at the same
time.
time.
Oh, I totally know that feeling.
Don't want to reveal my cards.
Yes. No, I know. It's poker face.
It got poker face on.
I know that feeling too well. Yeah.
So do you guys do this for everybody?
Yeah.
You buy everybody lunch?
You guys are buying, right?
Yeah, right.
So does this happen on the road?
So it gets funnier.
Okay.
So now a week passes by and I hear nothing.
Oh, no.
2 weeks go by and I hear nothing. Uh-oh. Maybe they did do that for everybody. Maybe
lunch is part of the audition.
Maybe I prematurely assumed that they really liked my playing.
Right. That's when the excitement starts dying and the flame starts burning down.
Yeah. Travis held me on for a month.
No.
But he told the entire band what he was doing just to mess with me.
Oh, that's mean.
Because he wanted to check out my character.
Oh, I don't know
but
about that.
That was kind of his way of doing things.
Oh, my God.
That's just, he was very comedic.
Quirky like that.
Like that. It was, looking back is funny. It's something I think I would have done nowadays.
Well, did they have gigs within that month, or?
So they hadn't. Their fiddle player put in, I think, a month notice.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know that.
Okay.
So he still had to fulfill gigs for
all
another
right,
month.
I got you. Okay.
So they waited to the last minute.
Oh, that's so mean.
So he calls me up. "Hey, man. So you want the gig or what?" I said, "Yeah. I've been waiting a month for you to tell me."
Yeah, I've been waiting for you to call me for dinner.
We laughed about it on the phone, and I went to work for him that weekend.
And that was 2013?
Yeah.
Because I know you've been there a while. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember when you and Mikey had you were both kind of ganged up on me. Both were like, "Hey man, our keyboard player just left, and come play keys with us." And I was like, "Man, I just got off a gig that I've been learning material for a month, and I was like,
well,
Mike called. I don't want to take a gig right now.
Mike called you, and I didn't know. I hadn't known that Mike called you.
Oh, okay.
And I think he had called you like a few months before I ever called you.
No, it was only like a week.
Soon? Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was like right after each other right there.
Well, our tour manager called me up and says, I'm running out of ideas for keyboard players.
Oh, yeah.
And
thanks.
And what, and at that time I didn't know that they had asked you.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm running out of ideas. I don't know, I don't know a lot of keyboard players. You play downtown quite a bit. You probably know a lot of people. Why don't you see if you can hook us up with somebody? I said, I got a perfect person. Who is it? I said, Vince Moreno. That'd be a great guy. In addition to our club, he goes, well, Mike. That's when I found out. He goes, well, Mike already talked to him, and he said no. I said, yeah, that's probably because he doesn't like Mike. I said, let me call him. I have a relationship with him. Now, Mike's going to get a kick out of this when he hears this. Well, if he's one of the 17 people that listen to this podcast.
Yeah, of course. Probably not. He'll never hear it. So talk all the shit you want.
Yeah, so... So I called you, and you had another offer from another artist.
Yeah.
At that same time.
Well, I had just come off that other gig, and I was waiting to hear back from because I had done an audition.
And that's something that you really wanted to do, I remember, because that was a Hall of Famer country artist.
And it was more of a stay-at-home gig, play the Opry all the time.
And it was hardcore country.
Yeah.
And it would allow you to play the Grand Ole Opry, because they're an Opry member and all that. Mm-hmm. And I remember you said, if this doesn't work out, then, man, I'll give you a call.
Right.
And whatever happened there, you gave me a call. I don't know, a couple weeks later, I think, a week and a half.
Yeah, I think it was I think it was a couple weeks because they kind of did the Travis Newman thing to me after audition. They were waiting. And what's funny was they already had their guy when they did auditions. I was like, I don't know why they do that stuff. But anyway, I remember because Mike was out with, and when we say Mike, we're talking about Michael Rogers. That's with Craig now. But anyway, he was out with Craig. They were doing like a USO, like a 2-week whirlwind tour.
Yeah.
In the Middle Eastern, whatever countries, and so it was right before that is when Mikey called me and he said, "Hey man, you want to come play keys?" And I was just like, "Nah, man," I said, "Nah, I just I really don't. I don't want to have to sit and learn more material. I just sat down for 2 months and learned material for one guy and then for another artist, So I just don't really have it in me to learn anymore. And so that's what we ended it at.
Right.
And then
it is a lot of work.
It is. I mean, people don't realize that you got to learn. You got to sit down with these songs, and
here you got 3 days to learn my entire catalog of 19 CDs.
Exactly, and by the way, we do everything different than the record because we changed it up because we're bored with it now. So we're
not going to tell you the keys that they're actually in. Just learn it like the record, and then we'll change that on the fly.
Exactly. But I really at that point I was burnt out, and I was like, I'm just going to sit at home. I'll just play Broadway.
Yeah.
I really just didn't want to go back on. I just didn't want to get on another bus. I was just really in a bad spot. It was burnout. I was just, you come to the point where, sadly, music becomes work. Yeah. And you lose that passion for a minute, and there's certain other aspects that make you lose that passion when you're riding a bus with, because you're traveling with 8, 9, 10 other guys on a 45-foot bus,
13 on 12 on ours.
Yeah, exactly. And you're traveling with them. Let's just say, out of the 75 minutes that you actually get to perform and play music, you're probably traveling 48 to 72 hours to do that. Right. So the music is so minute when it comes down to it when you're touring. It
really is. The majority of the music takes precedence at your house.
Yeah.
When you're working on material on your own, that's where the work happens. And you get on the road and there's so much off time. It's a hurry up and wait.
Yeah, and then it's like, all right, let's go do the show, and then the show's over. You're like, oh, all right, more sitting around.
Right. Yeah,
but not to say that we don't get to do cool shit on the road, but it's not about that. But
it's not what people think it is.
Right, it's not all that glamorous in being in hotels and places you wouldn't normally rent if you were out with your family. Good job. Yeah, good job. Well, there goes your fiddle.
Yep, there's the fiddle.
And ladies and gentlemen, you just got a sample of Jim Ed's fiddle playing. No, but the reason I bring that up is because, like I said, when I was out with Neil in 2005, 2008, we did a lot of shows with Craig Morgan. So I knew Jerry, the road manager, you know,
Yeah.
but he was a sound guy back then.
He was a sound guy. Great sound guy.
Yeah, like monitors, I think, or something.
Front of the house.
Was he doing front of house? Okay. So, but I mean, like I knew I knew mostly, and that's why I knew Mikey. I knew Banjo Ben Clark was playing keys for him at the time. You know, I mean, I met all these guys, and but I never really Craig wasn't one of these '90s guys. Like all the other artists that I've worked with, that I'm like, I already pretty much know the set list because I covered all these songs, pretty much all of them. But so I actually had to sit. I knew I was gonna have to sit and learn this whole show because other than Almost Home, you know, and a little bit of Life, you know, there's like like 3 songs. I'm like, well, I pretty much know these, but then there was a whole other hour of music that I'd have to learn. So I was telling Mikey, I was like, man, I'm not in the place to get. I don't feel like I'm in a place in my heart that I can give you 100%. If I were to learn this stuff, it would just be, you know, it'd be like a machine. Like you get mechanical, you lose all personality to it, you know. And he said, no, man. He's like, oh man, dang it, you know. And he's like, I hope you change your mind. I was like, I really just, you know, I don't think so, because I had told him that I auditioned for that other artist, and then you had called me, and I'm like, oh, they're trying to gang up on me, you know. And you're like, no, man, I just want you to be out there with us. And I was like, man, I just really want to be home right now, you know. Well, then that other artist thing fell through, and then I remember I called you back, or no, Mike had come back home, and he said, hey, did you think about it? I said, yeah, Mike, I just really don't want to sit and learn more material. I'm call it lazy or call it whatever. I just don't want to do it, you know.
Right. And I don't think Mike knew that I talked to you.
I don't think so. Yeah, it was funny because between the 3 of us, we didn't know that we were talking to each other, I guess. So anyway, I don't remember what happened, and I think I just finally told him, well, just send me the stuff, man. And if, you know, because he's like, man, it isn't hard, you know, and bullshit, dude. His stuff is very keyboard orientated. You know what I mean? It's pretty heavy keyboard
It's
stuff.
very heavy, yeah.
So when he sent it all, I'm like, what? It's not that hard. I'm like,
you mean I got to play on the black keys? This is an A flat? What? Because we do a ton of B flat, A flat, E flat songs.
There's a funny story about that too, for my maybe first month on the road with y'all.
But when you finally called and says, yeah, man, okay, I'm going to do it.
Well, no, actually, I told Mike, he said, man, we got these 3 shows coming up. Can you just please come out and cover them?
Can you just cover them? Yeah.
And I said, all right. I said, dude, go. All right. Send me the stuff. Because I was just like, well, I'll help you all out because I know that you guys were like trying to find a keyboard player. And I said, I'll help you out for this one, but I really don't want to be out on the road. So I'll learn. So honestly and truthfully, he sent me the stuff, and I was sitting right here. You can see the keyboard right here. Right?
Yep.
I sat right here where it had been set up for 2 months to learn other people's stuff. And I just was like, here's some more music and here's more charts, you know. And I'm listening, and I shamefully say this, but I learned that so half-assed that I'm embarrassed about it now. How much I didn't take, you know, I didn't put my heart out. You know, I told Mike that. I said, I don't have the heart.
Well,
right now.
we knew.
Yeah, you could tell. You could tell by the first lick.
We could tell.
But no, what was funny was, so I kind of learned the stuff. I had a bunch of charts. I'm like, well, I'm just filling in for the weekend. I don't really need to memorize this stuff. You know, and so I bring the charts, and we roll out, and I'm like, damn, Craig still got a semi? And they're like, yeah. I was like, wow, okay, cool. You know, I was like, damn. We pull up to a arena. And then I'm like, shit. I'm like, Craig's still playing arenas, you know? And you're like, oh, it's... And all you guys are like, oh, I didn't always like this. It ain't always like this, you know? It's usually smaller venues.
Yeah, it's usually arenas with 50 people in it. So don't get too excited.
Yeah, don't take it easy, buddy. Take it easy. The staff and the caterers and everybody equals more than the crowd. So then we roll out the next day. Of course, I don't remember what towns these were, cities they were. We pull up to another arena. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool, you know? So by the 3rd show, I think I had maybe spoken 3 words to Craig, because he, you know, people don't know, but he normally flies to the shows and then rides the bus in between or whatever.
Right.
So I maybe had, you know, so like the 3rd night or 2nd night, and I had made so many flubbers, I was like, oh God, you know, I feel bad that I just didn't really take the time to learn this stuff, you know, and I thought, oh, well, I'm just filling in. So I get on the bus after like the second, I think it was the 2nd show, and Craig's like, hey, man. He's like, dude, it's so glad, it's so good to have you in the outfit now, you know, and thanks so much for being here. And he was so gracious about it.
Yeah.
That from what I had just came from with another organization, I didn't want to go back out with another artist. And he was so gracious about that. And I sat there to myself and went, thanks.
Kind of caught off guard.
Yeah, because I was like, dude, he thinks that I took the gig, and I'm just filling in, you know.
Yeah.
So I remember I went to the back to change, and Perry Richardson, the bass player, was back there. I said, dude, I think Craig maybe thinks that I took this gig full time, and he goes, well, aren't you? Aren't you gonna? Well, why aren't you? You know, and he was just like, yeah. Well, what the hell? You did, right? You know, and I was going, oh my God, this is such a weird feeling to feel wanted, you know, and I was like, yeah, like, you know, I was like caught off guard. So then I get changed and I come outside, and you were sitting in a lawn chair by the side of the bay there, the bus, and I think Mikey was too, and I think Chuck was. And I come out, I said, man, I don't know where those wires got crossed here, guys, but I said, Craig and Perry think like I'm taking this gig, and then you guys are all like, well, hell yeah, you're part of the band now, dude. You're not going anywhere, you know, blah, blah.
Yeah. I knew when you stepped on the bus that you were going to be in our band.
That's crazy.
And to backtrack a little bit, my proudest moment came when we got on the bus and you got on the bus, and I looked at Mike and I said, I told you he didn't like you. He's here because I called him.
You are such a shit starter.
I had this biggest spoon you could imagine.
I love it, though, because you're so funny when you do that shit.
Well, and I love doing it to Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mike loves doing it to me.
Oh, yeah, you guys rib each other hard.
Yeah, I was very puffy. I was taking in a lot of wind.
I remember that now.
And I was like, told you he didn't like you.
Yeah. He's here because I called him.
He's here because I called him. So, and of course he cracked his grin.
Yeah, I think we all did. That's funny, man. But, you were so good at that though, and you used to keep me laughing on that bus, and I would just die. And then sometimes I'd be like, okay, it's time to go to bed, Jim Ed.
Yeah. You're waking everybody up in the bunk area.
But it was kind of a humbling moment because, like I said, you guys were like open arms, you know, welcoming in, and I didn't even play that good, man. I mean, honestly, I did not play good the first couple of shows, and I remember because Mike said, "Hey, man, you need any help on these songs?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't plan on playing them all the time," you know. Yeah. So I said, "Yeah, whatever," you know. And it's funny you bring out the whole different keys because on a lot of people that don't know that don't play piano or an instrument, when you play piano, there's certain keys that are way easier to play because the fingering and the positions for your hands are just a little different than when, like, say if there's, like you say, B flat, A flat, you know, G sharp. Yeah. So there's a funny joke that a lot of musicians say, "Oh, you play the black keys on the keyboard too," you know. I don't know if we can say black keys right now. You think that's politically correct?
Man, we're in a weird place right now.
Yeah, we won't even get into that shit because everybody else does. Yeah. Anyway, I was just making a joke, but I remember there was one of well, there goes our black listeners.
Sorry, Keo.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to be on here too. He's going to be on here too.
I'm sure he's the only one that listens.
Yeah, he'll be the only one, yeah. But we were doing, this was after like me and Mike had sat down, you know, and Mike, I remember, had brought his steel out there was just one song. It was, well, I said he brought it out. I didn't say he played it.
He brought it out.
He brought it out all right. I can't wait for Mike to hear this. He's going to be like, you got it.
Oh, he's good.
Oh, my God. No, but so I think the song was in, maybe you can remember this, dun, 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 dun.
He played on one song, and I can't remember.
Well, that's the song I'm trying to tell you. It's
I don't think we even do it
Here
anymore.
Without You or Here With You or
something like that.
Anyway, it's a heavy keyboard intro.
Without You.
Without You.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful song, man. I mean, Craig, this was the encore song. Craig would leave the stage, and then they darkened the whole place, and he'd run out, and then he'd come out from the front of the crowd, you know, or from behind the crowd and walk out there. And it was actually a cool moment. It was cool.
Yeah.
But it was a heavy keyboard intro song, and then the steel has these little swells, like, you know, these little things.
Yeah. So, except for was it so notey for?
Well, yeah.
It was more like a
walk walk. So mean.
More. Well, it's, you know.
So I don't remember what the song before that was that we used to do, but it was in a flat key. It was in one of those keys. So, like I said, I didn't take the time to learn this stuff. Yeah. So I had there's a transpose button on the keyboard. I'm probably letting out a secret here.
No, I remember you telling me this.
Oh no, you were there for this.
Yeah. But I remember like. I think Mike was the one that was, okay, now, you know, we're going to play in flats and stuff, and you can't be tuning that piano.
Yeah.
you got
when we play the opera, you can't transpose.
Yeah,
and
you can't transpose, so you got to play it the way it is.
I was like, well, I'm not going to play the opera with Craig because I'm only going to be out here for 3 shows, you know?
Right, at that time.
So at that time, I was like, well, I'll learn him later if that happens. But anyway, so we're sitting there, and the lights go down, and I kick off this thing down, 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 down. And then Craig comes out, you are the answer, or whatever.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 and
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. And then Mike goes, and he looks back at me like a deer just hits a vehicle, a deer in headlights. And he goes, hey, or whatever key it was in. And I looked down and went, oh shit! And I was still transposed, so I was a half step up from what it was supposed to be. And I hit the transpose button and kept playing, and Craig never even knew. And he sang right through it in both pitches. And then later after the show, and I was going, oh my God, have mercy on my soul right now.
I'm so gone.
Oh God, I was just like this. I was just more embarrassed than everything. And I remember, I think Russ, the drummer, was just looking at me, shaking his head like, man. And Mike's going, hey, it's an A. And so we get done with the show, and I come on the bus, and I'm like, I am so sorry. And Craig's like, what? And I said,
yeah, you didn't know.
I go, you didn't hear? And he goes, I didn't hear a damn thing. And then walked off.
Yeah.
And then Mike's like, yeah, man, that's not good. We can't do that. I was like, well, yeah, no kidding. Oh my God. So then I learned the show.
I think I pulled you to the side. I know I pulled a few people to the side that came into the band and would do that, would go and apologize, and I'd go, hey man, he doesn't have you in your ears. Don't tell him when you screw up. He'll never know.
He'll never know.
I do it all the time.
Oh my God. Well, I left it alone after that, but Mikey sure heard it because he was trying to, he's playing steel in one key and I'm playing keys in another, and he's like, hey.
Well, Mike's the band leader, and at that time he was the band leader, so Mike pays really close attention to every instrument.
Oh yeah.
He's he loves that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a mark of a good band leader too.
Sure, and also he's a studio musician too,
He's
producer,
a session
and all
player.
that. So yeah, he's listening to everything, and that is a good trait to have as a band leader. You're right.
Yeah, he just recorded with the Isaacs not too long ago.
That's what we'll do. We'll do a podcast on him later.
Yeah.
Anyway,
enough about Mike. Remember the pictures of Mike I used to show you?
Oh, when he was young?
When he was 15 years old.
Oh, so see, and that's why I thought that you probably got him on Facebook, but that's why I thought that you knew Mikey from back in the day, in Myrtle Beach. But because I used to remember you guys talking about the Carolina Opry all the time and all that. But it's funny that you guys didn't know each other until you came to Nashville. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I met him the first time I met Mike. Him and his wife were walking on Broadway to go watch a Predators game.
Oh yeah.
And I just happened to be on my set break outside of the place.
Smoking a cigarette. Smoking your life away.
Smoking my life away.
Yeah.
Watching him walk by, it was the first time I ever seen him in person.
Oh, really?
I yelled out, Mike Rogers!
Yeah.
And he turned around, yeah, boy! That real high voice of his. Yeah, boy, what's up? Yeah, boy. Who are you?
Oh, my God.
And that's how I first met Mike Rogers.
Oh my God, man! I'm just gonna have to one day just lease a bus and just me and you just go ride in it because damn, dude, you used to keep me rolling. And I'd come home and I'd tell my wife, tell Holly, I say, God, she'd be like, how was the trip? And I'm like, God damn, I said, and she knows this, because a lot of people say, oh, you're funny to me, they think I'm funny, which I think I'm funny, but
oh, you're hilarious.
But I tell Holly, I'm like, it kind of takes a lot to make me laugh, and that's, I'm not trying to sound conceited or big-headed, but it does. It just takes, there's certain movies that crack me up, and then there's other ones that other people say, oh, that movie was hilarious, and I go, that was just dumb.
Well, you do it as a profession.
I guess. I mean, I guess it's the same way, like, it takes a really good singer to really raise my eyebrow and go, oh, who's that? Right. I mean, it's the same thing.
Right.
But I'd come home and I'd tell Holly, I said, man, Jimmy had kept me freaking laughing the whole damn time I was out there, and she's like, oh my God, really? I said, oh yeah, he did this. Then he'd come up and do this. And I said, and a lot of his stuff is so shit stirring. It's kind of like when I pick on people, I said, it's kind of the same thing. So I guess we're on the same wavelength. He'd walk up and be like, oh, so you're not going to tune for this show either? Or something like that. And I'm like, oh, man. And some people just go, oh, my God.
Yeah, we did. There was an artist that opened up for us one time on the road. I won't say who the artist was.
Oh, come on, say it.
I actually can't remember the name of the artist.
Oh, okay.
They haven't been around, since then. They kind of just got a deal, and it's just...
Luke Combs? Was it Luke Combs?
No, one of these skinny jean dudes.
Yeah.
And they were such jerks. they wouldn't
Too big for their britches, literally.
It was our stage, and they wouldn't let us be on stage during their show to sit next to the, out of their way, out of the view of the audience, but by the monitor console, where the audience can't see us, and we weren't impeding anything.
Right. Everybody does that.
Every artist I know does that.
Yeah.
They didn't want it. The manager came up, who are you guys? You guys got to clear the deck when we play. And Jerry looked at him. He goes, "This is my stage."
Yeah, this is our stage.
I mean, we'll do that to accommodate you, but I want you to know this is our stage.
Right. We're allowing you to open up first, right? Kind of.
Yeah, kind of like that. Without trying to be, you don't want to be conceited.
No.
But I remember I was just put off by that so much.
Yeah.
When the guitar player, after the show, they all walked off the stage, right? Coming off the stage on the little ramp.
Yeah.
And I was standing right next to the ramp smoking a cigarette. And I looked at the guitar player and said, "Nice try, guys." Oh. And then turned around and walked off. Didn't look at the response. And I thought to myself, I've always wanted to do that, but it's
perfect timing.
You don't want to be a jerk, But I thought these guys are the perfect people to do that.
Yeah, couldn't have been to nicer guys.
So
that's awesome.
So I did it.
Oh my god.
and I think Chuck was there, and he just broke down laughing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's like I said, that's like something I would have said. You know, it's like, man, you have the same wavelength on the comedic aspect.
And to be honest, they did a great job.
Yeah, but it was just
I just felt like saying.
Yeah, you had to stab them in the gut in the side a little bit.
But they did perform well.
Well, it's funny. We used to sit up in the front of the bus, and the bus driver we had was he was something. I'll just leave it at that.
I think I know which one that was.
Yeah,
because we've had several.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know which one.
Yeah, he used to drive for a heavy metal group, and that's all he talked about. And we're like, well, you're not there anymore, first of all.
Right.
But, oh, man, I just, I knew right off the bat that he wasn't a good person. I'm a good read on people.
Yep.
But I'd sit up there with him, and I'd listen to him complain. I'd listen to everything, and then you'd come up there and just hammer him. Oh. Because, I just didn't want to hear him talk. So I would just get up there and just watch the road go by and get on my phone. But he would never shut up.
Right.
And I just go, yeah, yep, oh, really, yeah. And then you come there just hammering, because you come up in the little where the steps are at and smoke,
I used to hammer him a lot.
Oh, but it was so well deserved, man. And I would just sit there and crack up, and then finally he'd get so riled up that I'd be like, okay, I'm going back in the lounge, but it was just so funny, the shit you would say, and you'd say it so straight faced, and I knew you were just ribbing him,
Right.
And he would get so angry.
Oh, so worked up.
He'd get worked up. Next thing you know, the bus is rocking back.
Yes, yeah. And rock back and forth. And he was famous for rocking that bus back and forth when we all went to sleep. Sometimes I always thought he did it on purpose.
Oh, buddy, let me tell you.
And I got to tell you, one time we were on the road and he was driving. And it was early in the morning, like 7 or 8 o'clock.
About your bedtime.
Back then about my bedtime, but that particular day, that's when I was waking up. And I fell flat out. I sleep on the top bunk.
Right.
And I fell flat on my face.
That's what happened. That's what happened to your face.
It's exactly what happened. And I've had this twitch ever since.
Yeah.
Straight on my face, flat. Like,
boom.
Flat, boom.
Yeah.
Everybody opens up the curtain. Oh, my God. Are you okay? Did you break something? And I started cussing and went, that dang bus driver is driving all over the place. He's everywhere.
I remember this.
And Jerry's like, no, man, hold on, calm down. I go, no, I'm going to go give him a piece of my mind. I'm tired of him driving sideways and knocking us. I knew he was going to knock me out of this bunk one day, and he finally did it. Jim, calm down. We've been parked at Walmart for 2 hours.
I remember that, dude. You got up. We all looked out of our bunk like, what the hell is he doing?
What's wrong with this guy?
And you were so mad. I'm gonna kill him. Oh, you can't kill him. You can't be driving like that. It's unsafe. You're gonna kill somebody. Blah, blah, blah. And we were like, what the hell is he on?
We're parked at a Walmart.
And
I went from to.
But that goes to show you how bad when his driving was.
Oh, it was terrible.
That you still feel like, it's like when you go on a cruise.
He was good when he wanted to be.
Yeah, when he wanted, which was seldom.
Yeah.
But it's like when you go on a cruise and you get your sea legs, and then you get off on dry land and you're like, whoa. Yeah. You still feel like you're moving,
Right.
So you're justified in anger at that point. But that was funny. I do remember that because I think you pulled a couple things out of your couple things came out of your bunk too, like.
Oh, they probably did.
And you had said, "Oh, I have these night tremors," or you said something.
Well, I sleepwalk. I sleepwalk, and I'm famous.
Apparently not if you end up on your face.
Right? Yeah, I didn't sleepwalk too well that time. But I'm famous for having night terrors.
Now, do you know what that comes from?
I do. I have the same reoccurring dream every time.
Oh, okay.
Number one.
So that's a psychological thing, then.
Number one, I'm claustrophobic.
Ooh, that's bad for a bunk.
I'm extremely claustrophobic.
Oh, my God.
So when I'm at home, this is never an issue.
Right.
But when I'm in a little tiny bunk when you turn
closed
over on the side and your shoulder hits the top of the roof.
Hits the roof. Or the TV that's hanging down, yeah.
I fall asleep, I start having a dream that I'm in a coffin.
Oh, no.
So I can't find the curtain once I shut it.
Yeah, because you're probably rolled over facing the wall.
Yes, and I start panicking, and I hit the wall. Then I hit the roof. Then I hit the back part of the wall, and I'm going, oh, my God, it's real. I'm in a coffin.
Well, dude, I remember there was a few times that you were banging around in there, and I'm like, what the hell's he doing, And
I've done it many times.
And then once you finally told me that, you're like, man, I have these night tremors. You didn't really get into detail because I don't know if you're embarrassed or what.
Well, of course.
You're like, and I was like, yeah, right, you're just drunk or something.
But it got to be funny to the point where new people would come out on the road with us. And I remember the time we hired Little Rob.
Oh, yeah, sound guy, yeah.
And Little Rob, everybody says, now, this dude's he sleeps right across from you.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to be like one of the first ones to hear. But he gets these night terrors, and it's kind of funny. So you got to check this out. So he'd been waiting forever. Like he'd be literally open up the curtain and just
wait for you to
with his arm on his head.
Yeah, but he went to bed way before you ever did, though.
Right, but I don't know if he would just sit there and read because.
Maybe.
I think he was awake a lot of the times when I'd finally go to bed.
Yeah.
And he'd wait because he would tell me, "I've been waiting for like 2 months and I haven't heard you have one."
Maybe you're sleeping.
Finally, the day it happened. And it was, he told me what it was. It was quite funny. I don't think I've done this one ever since. I started like, hey guys.
I remember this.
And then I went into bubbles.
Oh, God.
Bubbles.
I can't remember that.
He told me I was saying bubbles. And I don't know where that comes from.
Oh, my God.
And so he says, I opened up my curtain, and Russ opened up his curtain. Russ is like, shh, don't wake him up.
Yeah.
Get your phone out. Video camera.
Social media.
So he said I ended up stopping right before he was able to video.
Right before he yelled out, action.
Yeah, action.
I don't remember the bubbles part, but I remember you would do that. You'd grunt, and you'd do that stuff. But
yeah. Hey, guys. Hey, guys.
Hey. Dude, I do remember that time. You were screaming like, help me. Hey, you died.
And then a few times I'll wake myself up. Hey. And then I'll look around and go, shit.
I'm doing it again. I paid the bet again.
And Chuck Ward, our guitar player at that time, his favorite story was always, hey, remember that time you fell out of the bunk? Because I fell out of the bunk a second time. And I landed flat on my back that time.
Oh, God.
And Chuck was at the across from me, but on the bottom.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, he was on the bottom.
Oh, he took the bottom when Rob came in, I think.
He took it later.
Okay.
Because he used to be in the middle. Then he went to the bottom.
Okay.
And he opened up his curtain. He goes, oh, my God, man, are you okay? And he said, and I was sleepwalking. This is one of the times I was sleepwalking that I didn't remember any of it until he reminded me of it.
Yeah.
He said that, I looked at him, he says, yeah, man, I'm fine. You want a Coke or anything? And I walked into the living quarters, shut the door, and sat there in the dark in my underwear for like a half an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
So Perry used to say, hey, man, have you ever done that with like a knife in your hand?
Like, we're going to be okay, right?
Yeah, we're going to be all right.
You're not going to murder us, are you?
That was always Perry's concern.
Oh, man. Well, I guess you could,
I could have played on that.
You should have said, well, there was one time, like a sling blade. What you doing with that hammer in your hand, Jimmy?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just woke up holding it.
Well, the first time I went to jail was because anyway, I won't tell you that story.
But they all survived.
They all survived.
Yeah. Man, I wanted to ask you, not ask you, but you play the Grand Ole Opry quite a bit because Craig Morgan is a member there, and I always thought one thing that was really cool. You like me respect the history of it, and you not only respect it, but you love it. You love the history of that.
Absolutely love it. Yeah.
And I thought it was cool that because that's probably one of the biggest highlights or dreams that any musician can say, man, I always want to play the Grand Ole Opry. That's like a goal, and me and you have played it many times. But I always thought it was cool that you said one time, I don't use an amp on there. I pull the microphone down just like in the olden days.
Yeah.
And I put the mic right up. I play into the mic with my acoustic fiddle so that it hears the acoustic part of the fiddle, not the amplified part.
Right.
And I always thought that was cool. I don't think other than the bluegrassers that come out there and do that, I don't think any other but with a full band performance does that. I don't think.
Yeah, that's true. The bluegrassers do it because there's no drums.
Well, yeah, that's their.
And the
that's
drums are usually the instrument that cover up the violin or create frequencies so that it becomes an issue for the violin, because the violin is
or any acoustic
obviously needs a little bit more volume.
Yeah.
And when you're using a front wedge monitor, which I do at the Opry, I don't use in-ears like I do on stage.
Right. That's another thing that you do. Yeah.
I want it to be old school.
Yeah.
And that it's just, I think that's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's like part of it. You want to hear the
traditional.
You want to hear the acoustics in there, especially the rhyme when you play the rhyming.
I want to hear it bouncing off the wall.
that.
Yeah, I want to hear the violin bounce off the wall at the rhyming because it's such an amazing acoustically sounding building. I think they're well known worldwide for that.
Dude, I heard Haggard there, and that was like the second or third time I heard him. But when I heard him in there, holy cow! I mean, there's not a bad seat in that place.
No.
But I wanted to bring that up because if the Opry ever gets to where they can have people go back to it, or attend it.
Right.
When you guys, if there's people out there that go, that's why they're seeing what they're seeing. When Craig Morgan performs, is you playing into the microphone. That's why. Yeah. I just kind of wanted to bring that up because, like I said, you don't see most, especially nowadays. Well, nowadays there's not even fiddle in the band really, but
right.
I just always thought, man, that's cool because I'm the same way when I'm playing. Most of the time I've played keys on that stage, and I want to hear the room. I want to hear the band. I don't want to use any ears. I'd rather hear and it's so funny because it's kind of known the mixes there are so. They're not that great because you're jumping from one band to the next band to the next band, and the sound guys will try and help you out as much as possible, but you're only up there 3 songs.
Well, and from where we stand on stage, when we do concerts on the road, the speakers are literally just a couple feet from you.
Yeah.
So you can hear and you can feel the bottom end of the speakers on stage. You can feel the stage rumble. So the Opry is set up so much more like a theater that you don't have that same effect.
You don't have that same,
Yeah, but no, it's very important tradition like that.
So is Craig is he the only artist that you've played the Opry with, or had you played that with other people? Or
no, Craig's the only one, and I was 2 weeks away from being able to play it the first time when I was with Blake Shaw.
Oh man,
yeah, I was like, oh man,
should have stuck around for that, huh?
Oh, I wish that would have been an option.
Yeah,
that would have been so fun, but I remember walking away from that and going, man, now I'm never going to get to play the Opry. And the Opry to me was more important for me to play than being on somebody's recording.
Yeah, it's like...
And it still is today.
Yeah, it's a validation.
Some people maybe don't feel that way, but for me, that was... Because I grew up watching TNN. Mm-hmm. Ralph Emery.
Yep.
Live from Saturday night at the Grand Ole Opry. And that's literally what I would tape every single.
Yeah, we grew up on that. Yeah.
Grew up on it, and I would cop their licks, and that's how I was able to keep informed on what they are doing nationally, musically.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a town of 800 people out in the sticks. We didn't have nothing.
I think everybody that moves to Nashville has that same story. Like, I moved from a town that's this big.
A lot of them do, and that's interesting too, because we didn't have access to a lot of the things that cities have access to.
Right. That's why we watched the Opry, because that was our entertainment.
that was our entertainment. That was our school.
Yeah.
That's what we learned from. And so I would tape that all the time and learn pretty much how to stay on top of, that's a cool lick. I better learn that one because I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
In order to stay relevant.
Right.
So the Grand Ole Opry was just an amazing, and to be able to play that all these years later from when I watched it when I was,
isn't that crazy?
8 years old.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And
it still blows my mind too.
I never take it for granted.
Yeah, and me, there's like every time I walk, every time when I see we're playing the Opry on this date, I just go, I almost get like, sweet, you know. And then you walk in the door, and then there was a point where, because I've played the Opry with, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying that I've been there that much to where I started to get to know the door guys. But I've played it with several different artists, and I'm really lucky because I've gotten to play keyboards on it or piano. I've gotten to play guitar on there. And I've gotten to play bass. Daryl Worley had me sub bass guitar one time. I'm like, all that's lacking is if I could play drums on there, I'd be like full circle.
Or the banjo.
Or no, kazoo, but no. But I got to the point where, like the security guys, the old guys that sit up front. You know, there's these old guys that like when you're watching Indiana Jones and they go in to get the Grail, you see that old guy stand up. You know. Hey, no. But I'd walk in there and be like, hey, how you doing, Mr. Moreno? And I'm like, man, these guys know my name at the Opry. I'm like,
that is pretty cool.
I'm like, that. I can just go ahead and die now.
The first time that happened to me, it was really cool. I was like, wow, you know my name?
Yeah.
Hey, there's a guy, your face looks familiar. You've been here before, haven't you? And they chuckle, ha. And, they're all 70, 80 years old.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Retired. Some of them are retired police officers.
Yeah.
But the Opry is one of the few places that I actually enjoy performing in the sense that I can hear and enjoy the music as a spectator as well as a performer.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Because we're doing live shows.
Because you were a spectator at one point.
Well, yeah, but when we're doing live shows, we have in-ear monitors.
Mm-hmm.
And
I hate them.
I do too, because it cuts you off.
It's like
it cuts you off from what the audience is experiencing.
It's like you might as well be in a studio in a whole room by yourself.
It's so robotic.
Yeah,
but
that's how you have to do it that way.
And that's why I love playing without ears, with a monitor and over a mic at the Opry, because I feel like I can participate in being a spectator.
Yeah, it's like you're part
at the same time.
Part of the band, part of the crowd.
And and I love that feeling.
Well, that all being said, is there anything left like? Man, I've always wanted to do this musically, or I've always wanted to play with this guy music. Anything musically that you think you still want to attain? I
still have never played or put out a solo album.
Why?
And I've wanted to do that for years.
Oh, you need to be doing that.
I just haven't done it.
Well, you're too busy making damn wallets now.
I'm making a lot of wallets.
You don't want to probably promote that, though, because you're too busy doing that. Right?
No,
you're getting overloaded.
Well, no, I'm getting overloaded, but that's a good thing.
Yeah. Especially right now when there's no music anywhere.
Which led me to start making those. Yeah. I had to find...
Well, that's a good segue right into, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This episode has been brought to you by... What's your brand name?
It is Elmdale.
Elmdale Leatherworks.
Well, it's just Elmdale.
Okay.
Elmdale LLC. I named it after the school that my father attended as a child in Montana.
What's that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, little community. Back then they had communities.
When I saw your little brand, I thought, what is that? Never remember hear you saying that word. So I wonder what the meaning behind that was.
Well, I was just thinking of a cool name, and I went, I got the perfect name.
Cool.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, when the pandemic hit and they shut music down everywhere, you know, musicians are very artistic and creative people. So Jim Ed just happened as well. You were making wallets before all this happened.
No.
Oh, you weren't? I thought you were.
No, I started watching videos on YouTube. How it happened was really weird.
Okay.
I love YouTube videos. Love random YouTube videos, and I happened to see a video randomly pop up on YouTube. They always give you these suggestions for you to watch. And it was a guy making leather wallets.
Yeah.
And I was so mesmerized in the 5 minutes of this video. And I just couldn't stop. I kept on going to the next video that he made, which is making a leather tote bag or a leather belt. And I was just, wow, there's so much that goes into this. There's so much detail. And this guy is pretty much showing, why is he showing all these trade secrets?
The tricks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Kind of like me with the transpose button on the keyboard.
Yeah.
Giving it away.
He's showing everything. And so I did this for like 2 months watching these videos.
Oh, okay.
And found several other people that do these videos on YouTube. I said, man, this would be a great hobby.
Yeah. Well, I remember you when you posted the first, like, I made this wallet, blah, 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 blah.
Well, I've never had a hobby. My hobby's always been my music, my profession. Yeah. And I thought one day I just told myself, you dummy, you don't have a hobby.
Yeah.
You need to have a hobby.
I guess why I say that is because it has been a while.
It has now.
That you first posted, hey, I made this wallet, whatever. So I guess that's why I was thinking you made them before. But just to make a long story longer, you posted that, and then people were like, hey, could you make me one? Could you make me one? And next thing you know, you're like...
So I made my first one. Let me backtrack real quick. When I was watching these, it was before the shutdown.
Right.
In February. That took place in February. We got shut down February 7th and haven't worked since then. So the whole thing shut us down, and then I went, hey, now's a great opportunity to try this because I ain't got anything else to do.
Right.
So I went and bought some tools, and I bought some leather. And the first 10 items I made looked like crap. And I realized this guy that I've been watching, thinking that, why is he showing all of his trade secrets? He actually wasn't showing all of his trade secrets.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot more involved.
Yeah.
And so after reading and researching, I finally put out a good product. And I was so proud of it, I posted the picture on Facebook. And as soon as I did that, within 2 days, I had 35 orders in 2 days.
That's crazy.
And I went, oh, man, I'm not ready for this yet.
Yeah.
I was just posting a picture of how cool this was.
Yeah, I was just showing what I'm doing, yeah.
But I can't say no.
Well...
And pretty soon the 35 grew to 65.
Yeah.
And now it's somewhere like around 90 or close to 100
Now you're Jim at the wallet maker.
Yeah, now I'm the wallet maker.
You know what, though? It's cool because people have been really supportive of musicians in endeavors like that.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I was doing these little videos, on this is an app on the iPad called Acapella, which Acapella means vocal only. But I took it to a new level, and I was starting to put instruments on it. And so I did start doing these songs. I just posted a couple.
The one I couldn't figure out on my Android phone.
Yes, that's right. You were supposed to be a part of one.
Yeah.
And I just posted a couple. It's the same type of thing. And people were just like, hey, could you do it for my wife or whatever? And, I'll tip you. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to tip me. I'm just doing these. I was trying to build my voice back up from having COVID, being laying around for a while.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I mean, so then... Next thing I know, people are just sending me money, and I'm like, well, I never asked for money, So the next thing, that was kind of like my job during COVID. I mean, they shut down for a while.
Yeah.
And, thank goodness it kept me afloat. So it's really cool that people are supporting musicians like that.
Well, the point is that if you want some extra money, go get some COVID kids.
COVID kids. Government COVID kids.
Go get some COVID.
So, do you have a website yet or anything like that? I mean,
I do, but I haven't put it together yet. Okay. I haven't had time to program to put anything on there.
So, if somebody wants to customize a wallet,
go to my Facebook page.
Okay,
I'm the only Jim Ed Hodges on Facebook.
So you don't actually know the actual Facebook address?
I actually don't.
It's probably like facebook.com/12695300755.
something like that. Just search for Jim Ed Hodges. It'll be the first one.
Two different words like Jim Ed Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Jim Ed Hodges.
Yep.
And send him a friend request or a message or something, and maybe he'll make you a wallet, or maybe he'll play you a fiddle tune.
Either or.
We didn't even get into your guitar playing and stuff like that, but we'll have to do a part 3 since we already done. This is part 2.
Yeah, this is actually part 2. The first one was probably the best one.
It's probably that's probably going to get the most views or listens, I would think streams.
So. I would think so.
Yeah, because this has been oof.
It's been pretty tough.
It's been about 58 minutes too long.
Looking forward to having a hot dog.
Well, folks, we're going to wrap it up. We got to do a Facebook Live. The boys are showing up. We're getting ready to play some country music for all of our fans and friends out there and take your mind off of all the stuff going on in the world today. I want to thank Jim Ed for being here for another episode of Music and Memories. We got a lot more coming up. I'm taping a lot more this week. So you guys stand by. And like I said, get on social media and share this thing. Share the links. It's kind of weird because when I share the link, like I'll share the link of this, on Facebook, and they pretty much hide it. It'll get like 3 likes. But if I put a picture of all the bass that I caught this morning, like 300 likes. So it's kind of crazy. But when you try to promote stuff, it's hard. So that's why I ask all the listeners if you guys can share it too. We're just. I mean, we don't make any money off this. We're just doing it for fun, and we do it for people's enjoyment. It's a good way to pass time if you're at work or if you're driving or if you're just sitting around the house. You can put it on a Bluetooth speaker and listen to us talk for a while.
I thought you said we got paid for this.
Oh, yeah, you're getting paid with hot dogs.
Oh, hot dogs. That's right.
Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us for another episode of Music and Memories, guys. We appreciate it. Thanks, Jim Ed.
Thank you, buddy.
See you on the stage.
All right.
Thanks for joining us for the latest installment of Music and Memories with your host, Vince Moreno. Visit vincemoreno.net for show dates, music, and more.